Okay, this is Andrew. I always get excited about this project. This is the network design project. I just want to say something about the network design is this is still an introductory class. There's no such thing as a network design these days that doesn't have VLANs. And most networks are going to have voice over IP. They're going to have enterprise wireless that supports guest access and roaming within the facilities. So all of these things are going to affect the architecture and design of the network. So a real network in real life will look not really like the one you're going to do here. But what this does do is it lets us design a working network with the tools we know and have at this time. And so exactly, if you read this, if you go under I think it's tests and assignments. We've been there many times. Go under that, read this, but we're not doing this as a group project. It's going to be an individual network. You're going to design it. You're going to create a PowerPoint slide. Basically, we're looking at it like this is, you are covered insurance. I liked your proposal for the security management that you submitted, so now I'm asking you to design a network. So you're going to design a network for our company, okay? You can read through all this. We've been through that before. Now the thing to remember here, the thing that I want you to have in your mind while you're doing this is the goal of this assignment is to design a network and to bring everything you know and that we've learned up to this point into the network. So that's the goal here. I mean, we really don't, you don't know enough to do a real network at this time. So, but what you can do is design a network with the stuff that you know. Okay, so capacity planning, basically, this is the same. You've done this. This starts bringing in a lot of the stuff from project 1, even 2 and 3. So I want to say one thing about this project is, while everything is important in this class, I don't really consider one thing any more or less important than the other. It's all basic stuff that anybody has to know and be able to do in the industry. But as far as your grade goes, this project is 300 points for some reason, and I've had students that did, basically okay in the class, but they just didn't do this project and got a 0 on it. So, that leaves you as a 70 is the best you can get. So, if you don't do this project. So, do the best you can on this project. It's the most important project for your grade. All right. So, network topology and addressing. This is very similar to project 1, except I'm not giving you any addresses. You just do the addressing. Okay. You should know how to do that by now. Configure the DHCP on Windows 2012 server. You're free to use Linux commands on a DHCP there if you like. I'm not opposed to that. Okay, then please repeat everything for IPv6. We've done that before. Network security. So you can bring in, rehash some of your stuff from Project 3 as you see needed. That was network management, but we're also going to look at security as it starts getting into systems and components. So I want you to describe some security hardware like ASAs, IDS, IPS, VPNs, and importantly UTMs, Unified Threat Management Devices. Okay. Again, for those type of things, I'm not asking you to do configurations or something. I just want you to describe it. Okay, describe the DMZ, which servers should be in the DMZ, which servers should not be in the DMZ, why. Okay, now I want you to start thinking a little more as far as servers go as well. It's, now you should be getting an idea that you can make virtual machines, and you could put 3 servers on one box. You could put 10 servers on a box, or you could put 10 servers, one on different boxes. So think about that as your design. Why are you doing that, and what benefits does it give you? One benefit of putting Active Directory on on a virtual machine is look how easy it is to back up, because really it's just a file now. You just copy the file and save it. If you have to actually back up a real Active Directory, that's a bigger process. So, but if I have multiple servers on one machine and that machine breaks down, then what happens? I've lost a bunch of servers, but it may or may not matter if the servers depend on each other. So just discuss things like that. It's about this. Bring everything you know and have learned into this network. So the more things like that I see that you know and you're thinking about and you're discussing, the better. Okay? So at a minimum, you should include DNS, DHCP server, web server, mail server, from a hardware perspective. Okay, your security plans should support BCP and DRP. You should know that by now. Provide backup servers at the remote sites. Is that what you're going to do? If so, what problems do you have with that? Why would you want to do it? And what problems are there with it? So, for example, if I have servers at the hub side and they're automatically backing up over the internet to the remote sites, is that a danger of somebody intercepting my security? Can I use a VPN tunnel? Those are things for you to explain to me, and those are things for you to tell me that have to do with your backup server plan. How are you going to back up your data? Are you going to use a cloud? You could use cloud. What are the problems with that? What are the benefits? So that's the thing. Everything in any kind of engineering is trade-offs, right? When you do one thing, you're giving up another thing. So I want you to see that you have a balance of what you're gaining and what you're losing and why you're choosing to do it a certain way. Okay? And how you can also explain that as well. So, alright, so the server plan, we've discussed that. You can read through here. Create a plan for the entire network. Show it on your topology where each server belongs and why. Then you're going to produce the PowerPoint presentation and you're going to submit that to me for a grade. I know it says, and I have done YouTube presentations before. We'll wait and see if we're going to do that. Not YouTube, but Skype. Alright, so anyway, like I said, I can't, so it is like, there's two types of projects in this course. One is one is basically like a math problem, right? It's like I say, okay, download, Windows Server 2012, activate Active Directory and DNS and DHCP on it, and configure a DNS server. So that's basically like steps, right? It's like steps and there's a right answer. Okay, so kind of like a math problem. But then there's the other problem in this class. It's kind of like, write in a paper. So project 3 was pretty much like write in a paper, And so is this. This is kind of like write in a paper. It's, if your professor asks you to write a paper, he's not going to tell you everything to say in it. And it's the same with this network design. I can't tell you everything to do in here. You have to think about everything you've known and learned and bring that into the network. But what I can do is get you started. And so, for example, originally the UR Covered Insurance had a hub and maybe 10 remote sites. And one thing that's common in the industry is you'll do like a type site. So we determined that, there might be 4 type 1 sites, 3 type 3 sites. So you can reduce the problem to a type of site. Okay, so let's say we have 3 type sites in this network, not including the hub site. So really 4 types. Okay, so taking a look here, your type 1 site, I'm going to kind of do this one for you. It's one router with 2 fast Ethernet interfaces, and it supports 2 networks with 20 PCs on one network and 90 PCs on the other network. One router with ISP connection, 2 networks, the branch of the other router, 20 PCs, 90 PCs. Now, You realize on this router there's only one connection to the switch. There's only one cable to the switch. This is a fast Ethernet connection. And this switch is a 24 port switch, so it allows you to plug in 24 devices to this network. So that's what a switch, one thing a switch does is allows you to connect multiple devices to a network. Okay, so here if you need 90 PCs, then you need two 48 port switches, and that's with no growth, right? You haven't saved any room on your addressing scheme here for growth. Well, maybe a little room, but not a lot. Okay, so the site 2 is describe a VPN. Configuration is not required. So this guy works at this company and he wants to securely sign in using a VPN tunnel. So, you know, they may have 100 employees that want to do this, but whatever it is, it's a type site, and it's a remote VPN site. And, you know, again, don't describe how to configure it. I want you to know what a remote VPN site is, why you use it, what it does, things like that. You know, you could probably write me 15 pages on a VPN. Don't do that. But you know, don't say, oh, VPNs provide secure connection. Don't say that either. You know, maybe a paragraph or two describing a VPN, what it's for, why you're using it, what it does, things like that. Okay, so then remote site 3, just come up here, read these directions. I'm not going to read all these directions to you. It's kind of similar to that, so do that. You'll design your remote site 3 out here. So here I drew it out for you. Here you can just copy this picture into Paint and then, you know, start moving the text off, copy switches down here and configure it the way it's supposed to be according to this description here. Hub site, that's the same thing as far as how you're going to actually build the switches and routers and IP addressing, but I also want you to describe intrusion prevention system, intrusion detection system, DMZ, and unified threat management, what they are, why you're using them, and where you would put them, things of that nature. And again, just like the VPN, you know, you could write entire books on these. Don't do that. But you know, at least give me 1-2 paragraphs about what it is, why you're using it, where you're putting it, what it's doing, things of that nature. Okay. All right, great. So that should pretty much get you through here. You know, describe each server in all areas, what and why you're using. Same thing. We've kind of been through that, and some of that's similar to project 1, but this will take it a step further. I want you to start bringing in why you would use virtual machines, which servers you would put on them, where do you put the backup servers, how do you secure the backup servers, all things of that nature. What type of backup are you using? You know, that's all your design. It's for you to do. Okay, so I think you should have a pretty good idea of that now. Again, just think of everything you know you're trying to bring in here. It's a big project. It's worth 300 points, but in some ways it's not as big as because you can rehash stuff from project 1, project 2, and project 3. So you should know a lot of this already. Some of the stuff I'm asking you to do is a little new, like unified threat management, VPNs. But I'm not asking you to do much. I'm just asking you to know what these basic devices and things are that everyone in the world uses. Okay, so on their networks. Okay, so here's an example. This is not what yours will look like, but here's an example. You'll draw out the full network. Like I said, you can copy this if you like and do Control Alt, or no, just do print screen, and then you can paste it into Paint, and then you can just copy these switches and move them around, do whatever you want to do. Alright, so here's the summary. Create IPv4 and IPv6 addressing plan to support 20% growth VLSM as required. Okay, I'm not saying you have to use VLSM everywhere in the entire network, but I want you to use at least one case of VLSM. Okay, so what does that mean? We'll see if we can go back. So for example, let's say here on this line I could use 192.168.1.x, and here I could use 192.168.2.x, and both of those are /24. They're their own network and there's no VLSM going on. That's fine. You can do that as long as down here on 3 you use VLSM. Then over here on this guy you don't have to use VLSM. So just in one case use VLSM. One thing we haven't discussed is discontinuous networks, and we won't discuss it. It's too long and involved. Okay, so develop a security and server plan for the entire network for a BRP, BCP. You know, again, include all the component and system security. System security is things like if I'm transferring my data over the internet, how do I secure that data? Component security is, you know, there's actually, you can use security at every layer of the OSI model. You can do it at layer 2 on the switches, layer 3 on the routers, layer 4 through application layer on the firewalls. So, you know, start addressing some of those different security concept, actual configurations and abilities that exist on different components. Okay. All right, so this should be a really fun project. I mean, don't freak out. I know it's a lot. It's a big part of your grade. Just do the best you can. I mean, the number one thing to think when you're doing this is to bring in everything you know so far. That's what it is. It's like, think of it as like writing a paper, and you're using everything that you know now to design this network. All right, thanks a lot. Hope you really enjoy this project. I think it's a good project, and have fun.